Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are looking at all of the Knights of the Frozen Thrones cards. It's finally available. So you come over here to crafting, and then you click this to Frozen Throne. Last time we looked at the Hunter cards, this time we're going to look at the Mage cards. They're not giving us a ton of cards, so I'm breezing through this a lot quicker than I thought. The first card we have is a spell card, not surprising for a mage. 1 mana spell called Breath of the Sindragosa. I'm going to mispronounce some of these things, obviously. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy minion and freeze it. So, Frost Mage card, not terrible to do 2 damage, but a little undesirable to play against a random enemy minion and freeze it. This probably won't get played too much in a Frost Mage deck if you have better cards, which I suppose you could say with any card is, regardless of how bad a card is, if you only have a small selection, you may still end up playing it. It may be the best option you have. Next we have is a 2 mana, 1 attack, 3 health elemental creature called Ice Walker. This, I believe, is the first elemental that we've seen so far. Your hero power also freezes a target. This I could see getting played a lot with Frost Mage and will bring the Frost Mage meta deck into more play. But this alone, if you have 2 of these in your deck, isn't probably enough to really shore up a guarantee of being able to freeze things. Next card we have is a 3 mana, 3 attack, 4 health creature called the Cold Wraith. Battlecry if an enemy is frozen, draw a card. That'll get used in Frost Mage. It seems like they're very focused on Frost Mage right now. But this is also Knights of the Frozen Throne, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just did this to be thematically appropriate. And it's not like that many people play Mage anyways. Mage has always been a early introductory class for players, and you don't see a lot of the top ranked players playing Mage. It just doesn't happen. Everybody knows what a mage is going to do. It's going to try to cast spells. It's going to try to make spells cheaper. It's going to try and potentially freeze you or just do a lot of damage to you. Next card we have is a 3 mana, 3 attack, 2 health creature called the Doomed Apprentice. Your opponent's spell costs 1 more. This would only really be that useful to play against somebody else who's going to play a bunch of spells, which would be a mage. So you probably won't play that unless it's, again, just a decent 3 mana minion. Next we have is a 3 mana spell called Frozen Clone. It's a secret. After your opponent plays a minion, add 2 copies to your hand. This, I suppose, is fine. It's a very roundabout way to get 2 copies of your opponent's minions, and probably won't change the outcome of a game very often. So in general, I wouldn't have a card like that in my deck because it's too random. Next we have is a 3 mana spell called Simulacrum. Copy the lowest cost minion in your hand. Interesting. Well, this has some strategy to it because you could potentially only have a 10 mana legendary in your hand, play this, and get another 10 mana legendary. So, strategically wise, this could be used in very specific things. I think where you would see this used most is with Reno Jackson, because then you could play Reno Jackson and refill your health to 30 if you don't have any duplicates in your deck, and then you would have a second Reno Jackson to play if the opponent got you close to dying again. This will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. I haven't been pointing out the levels I think I'll just stick with that. It speeds up the process. This is an epic. We've been looking at mostly common cards. These are blue ones are rares, and the legendaries are the orange ones. The rarity kind of doesn't matter that much. It's just how likely you are to get these cards when you open a card pack. Next we have is a 4 mana, 2 attack, 6 health creature called the Ghastly Conjurer. Add a Mirror Image spell to your hand. And Mirror Image gives you 2/0/2 creatures with taunt, I believe. We'll look at that later just to make sure. I'm pretty sure that's what that card is. Next we have a 8 mana spell called Glacial Mysteries. Put one of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. There's a Paladin card exactly like this. Maybe it's a little bit cheaper or a little bit more expensive, and they've just made a Mage version of it. A very lazy card for them to create just to fill in the ranks, but they're being pretty specific here to have 10 new cards for each character, or at least 10, and I think that's fine. There are many cards that are specific to certain characters, and for a while they were going with the Cabal idea of cards that would work amongst multiple classes, and they've gotten rid of that idea, and now they're just going back to having like different versions of the same card for different characters, which is probably an easier way to play. I imagine the Cabal idea that was introduced in Mean Streets of Gadget Sand will never be brought up again. This is a 8 mana, 8 attack, 8 health dragon called Shindragrosa. Battlecry summon 2/0/1 frozen champions. I wonder if they're frozen. That's pretty useless unless they're also taunt, and even if they are taunt, it's still pretty useless. Dragons in general, though, I do want to see more about dragons, but I've never been able to suggest making a dragon deck. The only real synergy among dragons is they will benefit themselves if you're holding a different dragon, and that's kind of it. That seems to be the way they work, and it's not the greatest thing to play. But if they slowly add more dragons to the game, eventually you could potentially make an entire deck with dragons, and it would make sense. But right now, it still doesn't. And then finally we have the hero replacement card, which I guess technically is a legendary. A 9 mana, 5 armor or health. It looks like armor to me. I imagine if it was health, they would just put the symbol of health that we see in the creatures. Frostlich Jaina. Battlecry summon a 3/6 water elemental. Your elementals have lifesteal this game. No explanation of what lifesteal is, however, but it might very well mean that every time they attack, it gains health for you. That might explain it, or it might be that at the end of the turn they take one bit of life away from everybody else and gain more health. That would be interesting too. Like if you had 7 elementals on the deck and each one of them took one bit of health away from the enemy or the enemy's minions, you would pretty quickly win the game. In fact, probably too quickly. So I'm interested very much to see what lifesteal is. Your new hero ability is Icy Touch. Deal 1 damage. If this kills a minion, summon a water elemental. Not too bad there. It's a little low. Now there is a card in Wild that improves basic hero abilities, and I am not sure what it would do in this case. Whether it would improve these cards and say maybe deal 2 damage, or if it would just not do anything. It'll be interesting to see somebody try that out too once the cards are available. So let me see if I can find these cards while we're talking about them. So Mirror Image, for instance, is a 0 mana spell. So where is it? I'm pretty sure it's a 0 mana spell. This is all the cards that potentially exist in the game. Well, I guess I don't really have to search for it, do I? I can just type in the word mirror and then hit enter. Mirror entity. Mirror image. Ooh. So mirror image is not the card I thought it was. So that's something totally new. Well, I was thinking it was something else. What is that card that summons two 0/2s with taunt if it's not called mirror image? Am I looking at all cards? Yes. I can't find that card. Where did it go? Seems like I've lost a card. There's too many cards in this game. Clearly. And then so apologies to that. There was a Mage card at one point that summoned 2 0/2s with taunt. If we come over here to the Grand Tournament and then just type in hero, this should work. There is a neutral card, not this one. Copy opponent's hero power. Certainly that will be useful, though. This, let's see, here we go. Just a card, True Heart. Replace your starting hero power with a better one. I'm very interested to see what that does. Anyways, we've gone a little long. That's it for the Mage cards. Next time we'll look at the Paladin cards. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. I'm sure people will comment down below what that card is, that Mage card that summons 2 0/2s with taunt. And that way they can help. And people will be laughing at me because I can't find it. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.